President Biden addressed the nation this morning, speaking about the U.S. special operations raid that killed the leader of ISIS in Syria. He says during the mission, the target detonated an explosive, killing himself and members of his own family, but that the U.S. did everything possible to limit civilian casualties.
Thanks to the bravery of our troops, this horrible terrorist leader is no more. Our forces carried out the operation with their signature preparation and precision, and I directed the Department of Defense to take every precaution possible to minimize civilian casualties. Knowing that this terrorist had chosen to surround himself with families, including children.
Let's bring in White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks and former State Department official Colonel Steve Ganyard, ABC News contributor, for more on this. Steve, we heard President Biden go over many of the atrocities that this leader was responsible for. How significant is his removal?
Yeah, Diane, ISIS has sort of been, hasn't been in the headlines lately, and al-Qaeda certainly has been out of sight for quite a while. We still don't know where Zawahiri is, but if you listen to the Pentagon briefings in the past couple months, they've been very clear that ISIS remains a very potent threat and that they are reorganizing and trying to rejuvenate the organization. And so to take out the leader is a big blow to that organization. Oftentimes, it'll just be the next person up. But as the Israelis say with terrorists, it's sort of like mowing the lawn. You need to take out who you can, when you can, but you have to be prepared that the organization will eventually rejuvenate itself, and there'll be somebody to pick up the mantle.
Mary Alice, what can you tell us about how this raid was planned and ultimately executed? It sounded like the president wanted to make very clear today that they did try to limit civilian casualties, despite the fact that it sounds like some were killed.
Diane, that's right. And that was exactly the message from senior administration officials that briefed reporters this morning. They said that they started planning this operation back in December, but that the president gave the green light on Tuesday in a conversation in the Oval Office, and then overnight was being briefed and getting real-time updates, following along with his vice president and members of his national security team in the Situation Room. One bit of color, they said that when the operation was finally done, the president said, "God bless our troops," before going upstairs, and then received continued updates throughout the night from his national security advisor, Jake Sullivan. And you're right, this morning the senior administration officials said exactly the same, that they took extreme measures to try to limit any civilian casualties. That's first reflected just in the fact that this was sort of a manned mission, that we put U.S. troops there in harm's way on the ground instead of carrying out a drone strike. But more than that, there was a conversation about how they worked to get civilians out of the first floor of this residential building. They knew the target was on the third floor, and they worked to clear those lower floors to try to get civilians out of the way. This is, again, according to the government officials, that they made loud, audible announcements in the area to try to get people to leave. That's pretty normal with a mission like this, but to, again, try to tell people what's going on, who might, to make sure that people are inadvertently sort of mixed up in this. And then they did a lot this morning to point the finger back at the target, to say that the civilian casualties that were caused there on the ground were the result of his actions, that he detonated an explosive, killing, they actually used the word murdering, his own family and other residents in the building, because the U.S. forces, according, again, to administration officials, were doing everything they could to limit civilian casualties.
And Steve, President Biden said that, quote, "This operation is a testament to America's reach and capability to take out terrorist threats, no matter where they try to hide, anywhere in the world." Do you think we can expect to see more operations like this one in the future?
Yeah, I think, Diane, if you think about it, this is very much like some of the other high-value targets that the Special Operations Command has taken out. Go back to the bin Laden raid. Remember that the bin Laden family was living in a multi-story building that looked very much like this one. Then remember Baghdadi, who was head of ISIS, was also caught in a building like this, and he too ended up blowing up innocent people. So maybe there was a realization that bin Laden got taken alive, or at least was they entered the house in a way that Baghdadi and Qureshi didn't want to happen. But these kinds of raids, as Mary Alice alluded to, these kinds of raids take months to plan because the U.S. frankly, I mean, the U.S. gets a lot of heat for civilian casualties, but I can assure you that at the military level, every effort is made to minimize civilian casualties. And so in this case, I would imagine that they would have wanted to get al-Qureshi alive just for the intelligence value. The fact that he blew himself up along with his family took out a treasure trove of intelligence that they could have gotten from him or from some of the computers that might have been around him. So it's these kinds of things are very, very tough. They take a long time. The intelligence takes a long time to develop. The U.S. Special Operations Command wants to be absolutely sure of the target being there and to minimize civilian casualties. But I think going forward, eventually, that unfortunately, that ISIS will rejuvenate in some capacity, and these kinds of raids will continue.
All right, Mary Alice Parks and Steve Ganyard, thank you both. We appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.